It's lovely to see you on a Thursday afternoon. And as Mr. Tiley mentioned, I'm currently the head of Year 1, and I'm so excited to be moving up with the children to Year 2. I've already noticed a few of my parents in my current class in the chat, so it's lovely to see you all again. I'm just going to talk to you a bit about the Year 2 curriculum and what learning will look like in Year 2 for your children. So as we move into Year 2, traditionally, we've always had very standalone lessons, English, maths, science. As a school, we're actually moving more towards the integrated curriculum. So we're going to give the children a concept. An example here is where in the world. And through that concept, the children will look at different aspects of the curriculum and different areas of learning. Through this, we want the children to prepare to be 21st century learners and to use skills. So they might be using their math skills one day and then their science skills another, just so it's not so standalone. We're really excited to do this concept with your children, and we're going to use the children to kind of guide our concepts as they move into Year 2. Sorry, I'm just moving my slide. As children move into Year 2, they will continue with their specialist lessons, just as they have had in Year 1. The advantage for the children is the amount of specialist lessons they get actually increases as they move into Year 2. We know that the children love their PE, so they'll actually be having 2 hours of PE, an hour of performing arts. Outdoor learning will be for 1 term. Islamic will be increased to 2 hours, and Arabic will be increased to 4 hours. The children will remain in their current Arabic A and Arabic B groups. The just amount of contact time with their Arabic teacher will also increase. A thing that we introduce in Year 2 also is the introduction of French. I know a lot of children are already really excited to get started with French. And for French, they will start with having 30 minutes of French each week taught by a specialist teacher.
Okay, so this is, I'll talk a little bit about our assessment. So I'm sure you probably already know that doing a lot of summative assessments, like a lot of tests and getting results and trying to track progress that way, is very outdated and it's not very effective or accurate. So at WSO, we are constantly assessing our students. We've used a number of platforms over the years. Recently, we have been using Classroom Monitor, and there's a couple of screenshots there that you can see. Now that has been very popular amongst parents. They really like to see kind of where their children are at, what they've achieved, what their targets. We will continue to use an online platform, continue assessing students kind of on a daily basis across the curriculum. Okay, so that's our assessment. Okay, if we move on. Okay, devices. Now this is something that might be a little bit different. So previously, before COVID, devices were introduced in Year 3, but now because of COVID, we have this amazing opportunity to do that a little bit earlier. So I know that your children have already been using devices, but we have a bring your own iPad. Okay, so that's our policy. We do ask students to have an iPad that is really its 6th generation or newer. Okay, other devices like Samsung devices, although they can be useful occasionally and the children can access some of the learning, a lot of the content as we get older through the older year groups, like Year 2, Year 3, that's when we start using things like Apple Classroom or other Apple-based apps. So really, it does need to be an iPad that your children have. Ideally one with the Apple Pencil or some sort of digital inking pen as well, so they can actually write on it. Parents obviously are always concerned about the amount of screen time that they have as well when bringing devices in. So please note that this is not a replacement of books or anything like that. The children will still be writing in books. and doing more traditional work as well. This is purely to enhance their learning experience. This is a tool to scaffold and support their learning. They provide having iPads and all being on the same device. The teacher will have the iPads connect to the board in the class, having that kind of freedom for the children to automatically ping their work up onto the board, peer assess, airdrop it back, things like that is just amazing and really enhances their experience. So please don't worry about the amount of screen time. We will make sure that there's a good balance, okay? But it is really important that it's iPad and not Samsung or any other device.
Okay, so I'm just going to talk about a day in the life of a Year 2 student. The good news for you guys and for the children is the day doesn't really change. Year 2 work on exactly the same times as Year 1. Our soft start is between 7:30 and 7:40, and our end of the day pickup is between 1:50 and 2 p.m. Throughout the day, children will continue to have their 2 break times and 2 snack times. They will continue to use the same playground, so it's something they are used to. At the end of the day, of course, if you have siblings in the school, we offer the sibling club provision. The day really does mirror Year 1, and we, as always, encourage you to get your child to school on time. Some of the soft start activities are really vital for children's learning and really help them out. So we really do encourage you to come to school on time. How can you help your child prepare for Year 2? Well, as we are coming towards the end of Year 1, there are a few things that you could really do to help prepare children to Year 2. The apps that we've been using most recently, Numbots and Book Club, continuing using those through the summer. The Year 1 teachers will set lots of books for you on Book Club so you can still access it through the summer, will really help your child. Continuing with the common exception words, reading and writing them, again, will really help them. Days of the week and months of the year, and all the things we've been doing in class recently. I'd also really encourage you to look at your child's end of year classroom monitor summary, and anything that is almost met and to target, work on them through the summer. If you need any guidance for that, please do reach out to your child's class teacher and they can suggest some websites and apps that you can do through the summer. Although, of course, we want children to have fun and enjoy their summer holidays, it really does help if you do these little things to help them practice throughout the summer to help them best prepare. What will your child need? Again, the same as this year, in addition to their iPad, they will need their school uniform, PE kit, water bottle, hat, lots of spare water. We always encourage in Year 1 at the moment to put a box in your child's locker, and then stationery kits, so your pencil, sharpener, glue stick. During these COVID times, it's really important your child has their own stationery kit, has access to all their own things, and they are replenished throughout the year. We again also just encourage you to encourage your child to look after these things, get their bag ready in the morning, and just encourage them to be independent. Obviously, you're going to have a few questions. A few questions that I thought might come up would be, will there be extracurricular activities? Now, at the moment, due to the COVID restrictions, we don't, as a school, offer extracurricular activities. What we do offer is enrichment. So enrichment will take place in school, within the classroom. Children have experienced enrichment this year. They will get to access lessons related to art, design, sports, and they won't necessarily access all the time with our curriculum learning, but they will have access to enrichment. What will they learn in all subjects? So at the start of every term, teachers will send you out a curriculum overview, which will detail the objectives we will cover in each subject, as well as ideas with what you can do to help at home. as you've received this year, you'll also have termly updates of your child's progress, so you can kind of use those to further support your child at home. Will there be any homework? The phonics homework that you've received in year 1 will continue in year 2. So you'll have a weekly seesaw task of the sounds that your child has been taught in their phonics. Again, that's something that can be practiced at home. You'll also have access to the home learning menu. Again, the home learning menu is totally optional, and it aims to cover curriculum subjects and wider skills such as cooking. The children I know have really enjoyed that this year. So again, a new home learning menu will be launched to them this year as we move into year 2. I see the chat has been popping up there. What we're going to do now is kind of answer a few of your questions on the chat. So if you have any further questions, if you write them on the chat, myself and Mr. Tiley will try our best to answer them.
Okay, so let's have a little look here. So first, someone has asked about trips. We would love to get trips going again. We really would. It's all very much dependent on COVID, I'm afraid, at the moment. So we do just have to kind of wait and see what KHDA allow us to do. That's safe. Obviously safety is number one, but yes, we would be keen to get the students back out as soon as we can, so they have some different experiences. French, yeah, go on.
Yeah, so the language at the moment for year 2 will be French. And from past experiences, children love French. And a few of the children in my class have already asked about French. So we will start year 2 with French. Pick-up and drop-off times will be the same for year 2 and to the class. Yeah, so you'll drop your child off in the morning and pick them up from the classroom.
Okay, then we've got, will all the lessons taught in the class be shared? So we will continue having a lot of things on Seesaw. We are still going to offer a remote learning for those families that aren't comfortable to send their children into school, which means that there will still be a lot of content online as well. So Seesaw is not going anywhere. That's the platform that we use. The children are familiar with it. So that will continue. Okay. Year 4, and I'll have trips. I'm not quite sure what you mean there, but we did cover the trips already. Swimming classes by a school, again, that is dependent on COVID, I'm afraid. We have to get the green light from KHDA. Our pools are being used at the moment by external companies, but KHDA see that as that is the parents' kind of choice to send them, whereas we have to get the green light from them to include it in our curriculum. Okay, so hopefully, again, yes, very soon. Okay, Lauren?
So swimming classes by the school, again, at the moment as a school, I
just did that one. I just did that one.
Sports activities in year 2. How many children will there be in year 2 in September? At the moment, honestly, we don't know. It depends on enrolment and how many students re-enroll to the academy. I've also seen a question there about class splits. Where possible, we'll try not to mix the classes. We don't want to mix the classes, but again, it's depending on the enrolments. We've currently in year 1 already asked the children about their friendship choices, just as a backup, but we'll try our best for classes to remain the same as they have been in year 1.
Okay, so and then there's another question. What do the children do when some of the children go to Islamic? So that is cultural studies, and that's the same from, during kind of all the year groups all the way up to year 6. So they would look at a variety of different cultures around the world. They really enjoy those lessons, and it's really useful for them to kind of do something a little bit different. The
bubbles. So the good news is as we move into year 2, we won't have the free bubbles as we currently have in year 1. Children will be in one classroom. We won't have the screens we currently have, but children will maintain their social distancing with their desks, and they'll still have their clear screens between their desks. but we won't have the big perspex dividers that we currently have in year one, separating the three bubbles.
Okay. Need to know more about the sports activities in year two. So there will be 2 hours for sports. There'll be 2 hours of PE every single week. Okay. They do a variety of sports during their PE lessons. Normally that includes swimming, but again, we need to wait for the green light on using our swimming pools. They do a range of activities, football, they do some racket sports like badminton, tennis, things like that, working on those fundamental movement skills as well. Then in regards to kind of extracurricular, again, we are just waiting for the green light with COVID as well. Normally we have a number of squads, a number of before school activities, after school activities, and we are just kind of waiting for KHDA to say that we can start those again. Okay. Books for year two?
So children will write in their books as they do in year one, depending on the activity. Like as we currently do in year one, when it's a writing activity, we of course know handwriting is very important. So we'll continue to write in books, but some activities may be on seesaw. It totally depends on the activity, but children will have books in year two, and the exercise books they use are provided by us.
There's a question about assessment there as well. Will the children be assessed again by year two teachers at the start of term one? So like we mentioned earlier with our assessment is ongoing. So they might do smaller, very small assessments like a phonics assessment, for example, just to see where they're at. So we can kind of cater for them and their ability and their current knowledge. Now, in general, that's really the only kind of testing that we do. It would be continuous assessment as the teachers get to know the students in the first few weeks of term, and over the course of, you know, a number of weeks, they would just be continuously assessing the students, okay, and updating Classroom Monitor or whatever program we will be using, and kind of ticking off things that they can do from the curriculum, okay. I think we've covered most. Sports activities, GL tests in year two. Lauren, do you want to take that one?
We don't do GL tests in year two. We use our ongoing assessment. They start when children move up to year three. Is there any additional English classes? We do that within class. If we feel children need a little extra support, the class teacher will organise a group for the child to work in, but there's no additional classes outside of school to enhance children's English skills.
With that one as well, we do also have a large inclusion team as well, if that's what you mean as well. So any children that are identified that need that extra support, that might happen in class. So we have a number of inclusion teachers that sometimes either go into the class to support the teacher and support specific groups, or those teachers actually come to class and take the students maybe into a different classroom or into the corridor, and they do small groups as well. So there's additional support that does happen, but not kind of before school, after school, or anything like that. Someone said about trips again, in year four will have trips next year. That's not 100% confirmed that year four will definitely have trips next year. We are hoping so, of course, and we are actually planning, and we're booking things in the diary as much as we can, but the plans very much, depend on the COVID numbers and the rules in Dubai at the time. Okay, I think that we have covered most of the questions there. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon. So my name is Mr. Tiley. Email me anytime if you have any other questions that we haven't answered today, any questions specific to your child, then please email myself or Miss Tunney anytime, okay? We are going to be recording, or we have recorded this session. This will be sent out to parents as well, so you can always refer back to, okay? Right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much for your time. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody. Thank you so much.
Bye.